Unrevealed Love, a YouTube love story. He almost let fear take the best thing in his life. She almost let fear take it for herself. Neither of them did. A story for everyone who almost gave up on love. This is a love story, but not the easy kind. It starts with a secret, goes through pain, and ends somewhere that will make you smile so wide you will not be able to explain it to whoever is in the room with you. Before we begin, subscribe. This channel tells love stories every week. The real ones. The ones with messy middles and beautiful endings. Hit that button now before the story pulls you in and you forget. And drop your answer in the comments before we start. Have you ever met someone and immediately known they were going to matter? Tell us. We read every single one. Now, settle in. This one is worth every minute. Part 1, the day two strangers changed each other's lives. Two strangers, one windy afternoon, one moment that neither of them planned. This is how the best love stories always start. Not with a plan, but with a collision. Maya was having the kind of day that makes you question everything. Not a dramatic bad day. Not the kind with emergencies and disasters. Just the slow, grinding kind, where every small thing reminds you that the life you are building is still mostly invisible to the people around you. That morning, her editor had passed on her manuscript. Politely, with encouragement, which somehow felt worse than a flat rejection. That afternoon, her sister Sandra had texted, "Have you thought any more about the accounting job? It is very stable, Maya." And now she was standing outside her favorite bookstore in the city, holding the notebook she wrote in every day, wondering if the people who doubted her were right. She was 27 years old. She had been writing since she was 9. 18 years of filling notebooks, of carrying stories around in her chest like furniture she could not put down, and she had exactly 0 published books to show for it. She crossed the street. That is when the wind came. The strap on her bag snapped. The notebook fell. And every single page she had written that week, 30, maybe 40 pages of the new story she had been working on, exploded into the autumn air all at once. No, 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 no. She lunged forward with both arms. She caught nothing. Around her, the city kept moving, because cities do not stop for small disasters. They just flow around them like water around a rock. Except for one man. He was standing about 10 feet away, waiting for the pedestrian light. He saw the pages go up before she did, and without hesitating, without the half-second pause most people take when they decide whether something is their problem, he moved. He ran along the pavement, catching 2 pages from the air. He dropped to one knee at the curb and grabbed another just before a passing bus took it forever. He stood up, gathered the rest from the wet ground, straightened them all with the focused calm of someone who hated things being lost, and walked back to her. He held the pages out. "Here, I think I got all of them." Maya looked at him. He was tall, dark jacket, no tie. The kind of face that looked like it smiled easily, but right now it was just calm, steady, like a person who did not need a reaction to know they had done the right thing. She grabbed the pages too fast, almost snatching them. "Did you read any of that?" "One line," he said simply. "The page that nearly went under the bus." "And?" he almost smiled. "It was the best line I've read all week." She looked at him suspiciously. "People say that. They don't mean it." "I mean it," he said. "No performance, just a fact." "Which line?" He looked down at the pages in her hands and pointed. She was not afraid of being alone. She was afraid of being alone and not minding. He looked up. That is the kind of line that stops you mid-sentence, the kind that makes you realize you've been thinking something for years, but never had the words for it. Maya stared at him. Nobody, not her editor, not Sandra, not any of the people who had read her work and said, "It's nice," had ever said anything like that. She did not know what to do with it, so she deflected. "You got your jacket wet," she said, nodding at the dark patch on his knee. "Worth it," he said. She looked at him for one more second. Then she looked away. "Thank you," she said, quiet and real. He held out his hand. "Daniel." She shook it. "Maya." The light changed, the crowd moved, and both of them stood there for just 1 second longer than strangers normally would. Here is what you need to understand about this moment, and what the story will not tell you until later. Daniel had just come from a hospital appointment. His father, Edmund, had been diagnosed 3 months earlier, and the results that afternoon were not good. He had walked out of the hospital and kept moving, because standing still felt like agreeing to something he was not ready to agree to. He had been an architect for 9 years. He was good at it, genuinely good. But lately the work felt like a machine he fed himself into every morning and climbed out of every evening. Slightly less whole than before. His last serious relationship had ended 2 years ago, quietly and without drama, which was almost worse than a fight, because a fight would have meant something was worth saving. He had been walking with his head down and his mind somewhere dark, and then the pages went up, and for 30 seconds he stopped thinking about everything else. He just moved, he just helped, and when he handed those pages back and she looked at him, something in him said, "Remember this person." He had not felt that in a very long time. He almost let the crowd take him. He almost kept walking. Instead, he turned back and called after her. "The coffee shop on Marin Street has better chairs than most, if you ever need somewhere to write." She looked back at him from 10 feet away. "What makes a chair better?" "It doesn't make you feel like you're sitting in an airport." She almost smiled, then the crowd took her. He stood there a moment longer than he should have. Then he walked on. Part 2, the friendship. Nobody planned and nobody could stop. He texted 3 days after the street. "Found another one of your pages. It blew under the bench near the crossing. I have it. No pressure, but if you want it back, I know that coffee shop on Marin with the better chairs." Maya read it 3 times. She told herself she was deciding whether to reply. She was not deciding, she had already decided. "Which bench? And I'll be the judge of the chairs." He replied instantly. "Corner of 5th and Marin. The one by the flower stand. Friday at 4 if you want." She smiled at her phone in her empty apartment and felt slightly embarrassed about it. He was already there when she arrived. He had her page, the one about the girl who visited the same park bench every day because it was the last place her mother had sat. He had kept it flat and dry inside a book so it would not crease. Maya looked at it, then at him, then back at the page. "You kept it flat." It seemed like something that should stay flat. She sat down. The coffee arrived and they talked, not small talk, not the getting to know you questions that feel like a job interview. Real talk. The kind that jumps straight to the things that matter. He told her about his father. Not everything, just enough. That the man had spent 30 years working a job he never loved, so he could send Daniel and his sister to good schools, that he had only just retired when the diagnosis came, that Daniel had been walking around for 3 months with the specific heaviness of someone managing a grief that has not fully arrived yet, knowing it is coming, not knowing exactly when, having to function in the meantime as if the ground was solid. The worst part, he said, is that I cannot fix it. I am very good at fixing things, buildings, problems, plans. I look at a broken structure and I can see exactly what needs to happen. With this, there is nothing to see. There's nothing to do except show up, and I keep feeling like showing up is not enough. Maya listened the way she wished more people had listened to her. Showing up is the whole thing, she said quietly. When my mother was sick, I spent 6 months trying to do things, researching treatments, organizing schedules, making plans nobody needed. And what she actually wanted was just me, just there, just present. Showing up is not nothing, Daniel, it is everything. He looked at her for a moment. I didn't know that about your mother, I'm sorry. It was a long time ago, she said, but it's why I write about grief the way I do. He nodded slowly. Understanding something, she told him about the manuscript, the 18 rejections, the editor that morning who had said it was promising but not quite there, the sister who meant well, the quiet daily grind of believing in something that had not yet proved it deserved to be believed in. He listened the same way she had. At one point he said, "Can I ask, why do you keep going with the writing? After 18 rejections, most people would have stopped." She thought about it properly. "Because stopping feels worse," she said. "I've tried it. 3 times I told myself I was done. Each time I lasted about 2 weeks before I was writing again, in a notes app on my phone, on napkins, in the margins of other people's books. The writing doesn't care if I have decided to quit. It just keeps going." He looked at her with steady eyes. "That is not a hobby," he said. "That is a calling. There is a difference, and the difference matters." Maya felt something in her chest loosen slightly, like a knot that had been there so long she had stopped noticing it. "What do you do?" she asked. "Architect. I design buildings." "Do you love it?" He paused, and it was not the pause of someone searching for a diplomatic answer. It was the pause of someone who had not been asked this in a long time and was deciding whether to be honest. "I love what buildings can do for people," he said finally. "I love when I design a space and someone walks into it and their shoulders drop because they feel safe. A school lobby where the kids don't feel like they're walking into an institution. A hospital waiting room where the light comes in properly and the chairs face outward toward the garden, not inward toward each other. Those things, yes, I love those things. And the rest? The rest is mostly compromises I make peace with." He looked at his cup. "I used to draw buildings for myself, just designs, things nobody commissioned, things that could not be built. I haven't done that in 2 years. I keep meaning to start again." "Why haven't you?" He looked up. "I'm not sure," he said honestly. "I think I'm afraid the instinct has gone quiet, and I'm not ready to find out." Maya looked at him. "It hasn't gone quiet," she said. "You just described 3 buildings in detail in the last 2 minutes. The instinct is not gone. You've just been too busy managing everything else to hear it." He was quiet for a moment. "How do you do that?" he said. "Do what?" "Say the thing people have been thinking but couldn't find the words for. You did it on the page I read. You just did it again." She looked slightly away. She was not good at being seen directly, but she did not deflect this time. "It is the only thing I have ever been good at," she said simply. They stayed until the coffee shop started stacking chairs around them. They kept meeting. Coffee became a standing Friday thing, then walks on Sunday mornings when neither of them had anything better to do, then evenings because the conversations always ran past the point where it made sense to stop. Daniel read everything Maya let him read, which grew over the weeks, from a few pages I don't hate to entire chapters, to the full unfinished manuscript she had never shown another living person. He read all of it. He gave notes in a green pen, specific, honest, never cruel. This paragraph he wrote in the margin of chapter 7. "This is the best thing in the whole book and you buried it. Move it to page 1. Start here. Trust yourself." Maya moved it to page 1. The chapter suddenly worked in a way it had not before. She did not tell him how much that meant, but she thought about it for a week. She also noticed other things about him, in the accumulated way you notice things about people you spend a lot of time with. He was the kind of person who remembered small details. She had mentioned offhand in their third meeting that she could not drink coffee after 3 o'clock or she would not sleep. From that point on, whenever they met in the evenings, he was already holding a tea for her when she arrived. He had not mentioned it. He had just done it. He was the kind of person who fixed things without announcing it. The broken latch on her favorite notebook, the clasp that she had been dealing with for 6 months, disappeared one afternoon while she was in the bathroom at the coffee shop. When she came back, the clasp worked. He was looking out the window at the street. "Did you just fix my notebook?" she said. "I had a paperclip," he said simply. "From where?" "I always have a paperclip." She looked at him. "You always have a paperclip," she repeated. "Things break," he said. "It is useful to be prepared." She did not know what to do with him most of the time. She was not used to being taken care of in ways that asked nothing in return. He let her into the parts of his life that mattered too. She went with him twice to visit his father in the hospital. She sat in the corridor and read while Daniel was inside. And when he came out and his face was doing that thing faces do when the news is not good, she would stand up and say, "The cafe on the ground floor has very bad coffee and we should both have some." And they would sit with the very bad coffee and not talk about what needed to not be talked about yet. And somehow that was exactly right. His father, Edmund, eventually insisted on meeting her. She spent 40 minutes in the hospital room being interrogated by a man who turned out to be funny and sharp and completely unlike anyone who should be attached to machines. Edmund had been a civil engineer. He had opinions about buildings, about writing, and about his son, all of which he expressed without being asked. "Daniel never talks about his own projects," Edmund said to Maya while Daniel was getting water from the corridor. "Only the client's projects, only what other people need. Do you know he used to fill entire sketchbooks with his own designs? I have 7 of them in a box at home. He has not asked for them in 2 years. Maya looked at the door Daniel would come back through. "I know," she said quietly. Edmund looked at her carefully. "Good," he said, "then you understand what I am telling you." When she left, Edmund said to Daniel, "She is the real thing. Do not be an idiot about it." Daniel told Maya this story a week later. He made it sound like a funny anecdote, but he told it with the kind of careful lightness that meant it was not nothing. But here is what neither of them was saying out loud. Maya had started rearranging her Fridays around their meetings, not because she had to, but because she wanted to. She had also started writing differently. The main character in her manuscript had, without Maya consciously deciding it, begun to resemble someone who fixed things without announcing it, who remembered small details, who said the true thing plainly and then did not need you to respond. Daniel had started finishing work on time for the first time in 2 years. He had also quietly started drawing again, not commissioned work, his own designs, things that could not be built. He had not told Maya, but he had started. They both knew something was growing. They were both pretending it was not, because the friendship was the best thing in both their lives right now, and both of them were too afraid to do anything that might break it. Part 3. The almost, the pullback, the mistake. It was a warm Friday in October, one of those evenings the city gives you by accident, like a gift it forgot it had. They were on the rooftop of Daniel's building. Maya had brought her notebook. Daniel had brought a good bottle of something they had been arguing about for weeks. The city spread out below them in its best autumn colors. They talked for 3 hours without noticing. At some point the talking stopped, not in an uncomfortable way, in the way that happens when two people are entirely at ease with each other and words become optional. Maya was looking at the city lights. Daniel was looking at her. He had been doing that more lately. Catching himself mid-sentence, mid-thought, just looking. At the way her face moved when she was thinking. At the way she chewed the end of her pen when she was writing something she was not sure about. At the way she laughed, always like it surprised her, always a half-second delayed, like her body needed a moment to believe something was actually funny before it committed. He knew what it meant. He had known for weeks. And underneath the knowing was something that had nothing to do with fear of losing the friendship, though that was real, and everything to do with something older and more private. His last relationship had ended because he had not been present enough. That was the word his ex had used, present. She had said, "You are always looking slightly past wherever you are, Daniel. Like you are waiting to be somewhere better. I cannot love someone who is always slightly somewhere else." He had thought about that sentence many times since, because she was right. He had been somewhere else. He had never understood where exactly until Maya, and now he understood, and it frightened him in a specific way. Because what it meant was, he had been looking for something for a long time without knowing it, and now he had found it. And having found it, the only thing left to do was risk it, and he did not know if he was brave enough for that. Maya turned and caught him looking. He did not look away. That was different. Usually he looked away. She felt her heart do something inconvenient. "What?" she said. "Nothing," he said, "just thinking." "About what?" A pause. The city glittered below them. "About how this is my favorite part of the week," he said. "Every week this." She looked at him, he looked at her, and then the moment, the kind of moment that does not announce itself, that just arrives quietly and stands there, waiting to see what you will do with it. They were very close. The city was very quiet. The whole evening was leaning towards something, and Daniel pulled back. He picked up his glass. He turned to look at the city. He said something about a building he had spotted on the skyline, and the moment passed. Maya looked at the city too. Her heart was doing something she was going to have to address later alone in her apartment. They stayed until midnight. When she left, he hugged her at the door the way he always did. But she noticed, and she was certain she was not imagining it, that he held on 1 second longer than usual. The following Friday was different, not dramatically, not in a way Maya could point to, but different the way a room is different when someone has moved the furniture 2 inches. You can feel it before you can see it. He was there when she arrived. Same table, same coffee, but something was slightly held back, a 1/2 inch of extra distance, a checking of his phone he would not usually do, topics that were safe and surface level in a way their conversations never usually were. She thought maybe she imagined it, maybe it was her. She thought this for 3 more Fridays, each one slightly more careful than the last. What she did not know was what was happening on his side of the table. Daniel was fighting with himself in a way that had no clean resolution. He was not pulling back because he did not feel anything. He was pulling back because he felt too much, and because he had been here before, in the early weeks of something real, and he had failed it, not dramatically, just by being slightly elsewhere, by being the person his ex had described. And he was terrified of doing that to Maya, of her seeing him clearly and finding the same absence, of being the thing that hurt her when she had already been hurt enough. He told himself he was protecting her. He knew somewhere beneath that he was protecting himself. By the 4th Friday, Maya knew she had not imagined it. Something had changed on that rooftop. And instead of going toward it, Daniel was going away from it. She did not ask. She did not know how without risking the friendship, which had become the steadiest thing in her year. So she did what she always did when something was too big for conversation. She wrote about it. She wrote, "I think I am in love with my best friend, and I think he knows, and I think he is choosing not to know. And I do not know which one of us is more afraid, me for saying nothing or him for pulling back from something I could feel as clearly as I can feel the pen in my hand. The worst part is this: I am angry at him, not because he does not feel it. I think he does. I am angry because he is choosing safety over honesty. And I spent 18 years being told my writing was not good enough by people who were choosing safety over honesty. I recognize it now. It looks like a smile. It sounds like normal conversation, but underneath it there is a wall. What I want to say to him is this: I am not asking you to be perfect. I am not asking you to have everything figured out. I know about the relationship that ended. I know you are afraid of being the person who is not fully there. I see you trying to be fully there every single day. With your father, with your work, with me. You are the most present person I know, and you cannot see it. Which is exactly the kind of thing I would write about if it were not happening to me personally. I will not beg someone to choose me, not even him, but I need him to be honest, because if this is nothing, if I invented all of it, I need to know so I can stop, and if it is something, then we are wasting time, and I have wasted enough time already. She put the pen down, she read it back. Then she picked up her phone and she stopped. She sat there for a long moment, phone in hand, the text unwritten, because this was the part she had not told herself
the truth about yet. The part underneath the anger and the clarity and the very good paragraphs. She had been here before, not with Daniel, with the manuscript, with every agent query she had almost not sent, with every chapter she had almost not shown anyone. She knew this feeling, the feeling of standing at the edge of something real, with the full knowledge that sending it meant it could be refused, that saying it out loud meant it could be denied, that reaching for something meant admitting you wanted it, and wanting things had not historically been safe for her. 18 years, 17 rejections. And each time, the moment before she sent something out into the world, she had felt exactly this. The specific terror of a person who has learned slowly and thoroughly that the things she believes in do not always get believed in back. She looked at the notebook, at what she had written. She thought about what Daniel had said to her on their second Friday, when she had told him about the rejections. That is not a hobby. That is a calling, and the difference matters.
To be continued in concluding parts. What does Maya do next? Does she send the message or put the phone back down? And when she does, what will Daniel choose? Subscribe so you don't miss the ending.